And now, the chair of our incredible youth conference, Mr. Patrick O'Brien.
I am not the chair of your youth conference, just in case you wondered, but I am honored to present your next speaker. We all have dreams, hopes and aspirations, grand visions for our futures. Unfortunately, making those dreams a reality is often a lot less romantic and a lot more difficult than simply creating grandiose goals for ourselves. It takes courage, it takes commitment, and often real personal sacrifice to achieve those goals. I've had the honor and privilege over the last 14 years of watching Kevin Bracie pursue his dreams in truly spectacular fashion. I met Kevin in 1998. He was a new recruit for a speaking organization I had recently co-founded. He was a Toastmaster speaker with a grand vision for his life. Within 5 minutes of meeting him, he looked me in the eye and said, "My passion, my dream is to change people's lives with words." Kevin was instantly hired. The organization, by the way, was called Making It Count. Our mission was to empower students to achieve their dreams. With NSA past president Al Walker as my mentor in the process, great pearls of wisdom from Ron Arden for many years along the way, and phenomenal young talent like Kevin Bracie and your convention chair, Patrick Henry, we grew the organization to speak to more than 25 million students over the next 15 years, making high school count programs, making your college search count programs, making college count programs at high schools and colleges across the country. Kevin Bracie personally traveled to 31 states and spoke to more than 300,000 students. Our audiences were typically 300 to 400 students, so you can do the math. Kevin spoke nearly 1,000 times for us. Not just quantity, though, quality. When we needed a great speech, a great presentation, Kevin Bracie was on a plane. After that, he expanded his experience base and his geographic footprint, speaking for the legendary Les Brown, not just in the US, but now in different countries around the world on a wide range of topics. Kevin then leveraged the entire decade he had committed to honing his craft to grow his own speaking business, Life Changers International. Kevin speaks for great clients like AT&T, Hewlett-Packard, Miller Coors, the Army, the Air Force. He regularly holds speaker training seminars. He executive produces a live television show in California called Monstars of Motivation. He's authored 2 books. He's co-authored 6 books. He runs marathons. He works with the March of Dimes and is an incredibly committed husband and father. I know of no better example of what you can do with the courage and the commitment to achieve your dreams. So brace yourself for your next speaker, the incredibly dynamic Kevin Bracie.
If you're fired up, NSA, let me hear you say yes. If you're ready to go home and make something happen, really make something happen, say yes. If you can hardly wait to accelerate, say yes. Okay, before you do, before you take off, before you get on a plane or get in your car and go home, I need for you to high five somebody to your right and your left, look them in the eye and say, brace yourself. Brace yourself. Brace yourself. Prepare yourself. Anchor yourself. Get your footing. In the hip-hop culture, they say stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Because here's what I'm finding, it's really easy in the milieu of the National Speakers Association to be fired up, to be excited. You're listening to speakers, legendary speakers, Jeannie Robertson, Talk about Dan Thurman, Connie Podesta, Patricia Fripp. It's easy to be excited in this space. But my question is, and what I want to speak to, is what happens on Wednesday morning? What happens on Thursday morning, Friday, when you get home, when the raising the roof and the high fives and all the encouragement, it's not there anymore. The sessions are done. What happens then? Because I know right now it's like you're ready to start checking off your goals. You're ready to accelerate. You're in the state of acceleration. See, I remember my senior year. I know what it feels like to be in that state, to accelerate. My senior year at the University of Utah, baseball player. Yes, I went to Utah. I was the only brother in Salt Lake City. It was me. Yeah, it was me. Carl Malone and I. I'm sorry, it was Carl Malone and I. Senior year, University of Utah, team captain, all-league second baseman, and I'm supposed to get drafted in the top 10 rounds in the baseball draft. I was so excited to where I was ready to accelerate through that senior year. I was in the pursuit. Everybody say the pursuit. I was in the pursuit of my goal. My goal was clear, though. My goal was to sign my name on a professional baseball contract after the 56th game of my senior year. Third game of the season, third inning, 2 outs. I'm standing on third base as the runner. Batter gets up to the plate and hits a ground ball to the second baseman. All the second baseman had to do was to pick up the ground ball, throw it to first base. Really simple. It would have been out number 3, inning over. But instead, he picked up the ground ball, he turned his feet, he threw it to the third baseman, and I got caught in a pickle between third and home. Back and forth. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, but I decided to square my shoulders and run back toward the third base bag. I was running as hard as I could, closed my eyes, and I dove and reached for the third base bag. Me and the ball met the third baseman at the same time. He fell down, I fell down, the ball rolled out of his glove. The umpire said, "Safe," and the crowd went crazy. I remember after that slide, I stood up to brush my uniform off, and I said, "Coach, call timeout." "Coach, I can't breathe." He said, "What happened?" I said, "Call timeout." And what happened was when I dove toward the third base bag, my thumb hit the third baseman's thigh and jammed right down into my wrist in the matter of seconds. I'm on the cusp of achieving my goal. And you mean to tell me I've shattered my thumb the third game of the season? The thing that I remember next was waking up in a hospital bed the next day at Utah Hospital. Laying on a bed that was flat, kind of inclined. As I'm laying there, I remember a surgeon coming in. As I came up out of the anesthesia, there was a surgeon standing right over my hospital bed. You don't wake a brother up like that, please. He had a mask over his face. He had a mask on his head. He had some glasses on. You don't wake someone up like that. I'll never forget looking up and seeing the reflection of my face through his glasses as he uttered the words, "Young man, I hate to be the one to break this news to you, but I don't think you'll play baseball again. You shattered your thumb. I had to put 3 screws in your thumb to hold it all together. You can't do anything for 5 weeks." I had no say in the matter. After the anesthesia wore off, they sent me home, and I went home and laid on the couch in my apartment for 7 days. Didn't do anything. Didn't go to class. Didn't want to talk on the phone. Didn't want to watch television. Moments of contemplating suicide. Well, some people say, why would you be contemplating suicide over a thumb? But what you don't understand is that this was my dream. If I could sign this contract, it would give me access to my dream. Minor leagues, a single A, and then double A, and then triple A, and then the dream of playing in the big leagues. This was the only vision that I had. I was counting on it, and my family was counting on it too. It's a big deal. So me and my roommates, we used to use these paint buckets as garbage cans in our apartment. As I laid on that couch for 7 days and did nothing, the 8th day I woke up from a nightmare, and I woke up and I said, in a panic, you got to do something about this. You've been chasing this dream for too long to just let it sit and lay. You can't just sit here and feel sorry for yourself. And here's what the surgeon did wrong. He gave me the workout schedule that I was going to use after 5 weeks. Somebody say hard-headed. I'm hard-headed. I said, you know what? I'm going to start this right now. I pulled these paint buckets next to the couch that I had been laying on for 7 days. I called my roommate who worked at a grocery store. I said, on your way home, I called him up, Nate, here's what I need you to do, man. On your way home, I need some help. I said, I need you to bring me over the biggest bag of sand that you can find. He said, sand? Man, what do you need sand for? I said, while you're at it, I need the biggest bag of rice that you can find. And please, right now, don't question me because I'm a bit irritable. I'm focused and I'm frustrated. He said, I got you, bro. I'm going to bring it over. 2 hours later, he comes over with 2 big bags. True story. I went to the door, couldn't wait to get to the door. He couldn't even open the door. I grabbed the bags out of his hand. I cut the bag of sand open and I emptied it into the bucket all the way to the top. I've got sand all over my living room floor. I cut the other bag open and I emptied it. Oh, I've got rice and sand all over the place. And then the physical therapist gave me some soft clay that I can begin to use. Remember, the doctor said don't do anything for how long? 5 weeks. I put that clay in a bowl and put a dinner tray up. So I had a bucket of sand, a bucket of rice, and a bowl of soft clay. See, my friends, when you leave here on Wednesday, you're going to be in the pursuit. The pursuit of your goal, whatever that is for you. But as you're in the pursuit, somewhere along the way, repeat this after me, please, the struggle. Yeah, you're going to run into some struggles. You're going to run into some roadblocks. Now, I'm not talking the speaking struggles that we've been talking about for the last 4 days. I'm talking about life struggles. Stuff that we can't even control. I have a son. I talk about the struggle a lot because I have a son who's 11 years young. He's had 10 major surgeries in 11 years. Hundreds of outpatient surgeries. And as excited as I am right now, in the state to accelerate, when I get off the plane, my wife could text me and say, meet us at the hospital as soon as you get off the plane. How many know something like that could slow you down a little bit? You're going to be met with the struggle. You're going to be met with resistance. But NSA, a plane needs a certain amount of resistance to get off the ground in order to fly. You're going to be met with some setbacks, but Willie Jolly already gave us the remedy for that. A setback is a setup for a comeback. But sometimes we don't take heed to that kind of wisdom when we're in the struggle. So what do you do while you're in the struggle? Everybody say, brace yourself. Cross 2 forearms, give me 2 strong fists just like this. Hurry up, hurry up. Say, brace yourself. Again, please, brace yourself. Here's what you can do in the struggle. I'm going to give you the brace that can snap you into state to accelerate, especially when you're in the struggle. Here's the B. The B stands for back to the basics. You know, some of the greatest coaches in the world, the Pat Summits of the world, the John Woodens of the world. The reason why these coaches were so great is because they taught the basics. It was all about the basics. Let me explain. I remember December 4th, 2011. I found myself standing amid 9,000 marathon runners around me. And I could not believe that I was standing there as one of those, about to run 26.2 miles. And I remember 8 minutes before start time, I remember discovering how much fear I had. My stomach was hurting. My heart was beating out of my chest. I felt someone had put a screwdriver in my temple. I had a migraine, and I don't even get migraine headaches. And when I think about those symptoms, I ascribe those symptoms to me discovering that I had absolutely no belief that I could complete the task that was ahead of me. See, there's some people in this room right now who have no trouble with believing in yourself. That's not your challenge. But there's some who are in this room who are excited right now, high-fiving right now, but when you get home and you're by yourself and you're in the struggle, your belief begins to wane. Bang, the gun went off. We took off. There was a lot of ebbs and flows in this marathon. Many peaks and valleys during this marathon. I remember my first peak. My first peak was at mile 6. Mile 6, when the 30 to 40 students and staff that I was running the marathon for were cheering me on at mile 6, fired up, pumping their fists, and they infused me with more energy, not belief, but energy to keep putting one foot in front of the other. I remember the first valley at mile 11. At mile 11, my body started to shut down. My biggest fear was becoming a reality. I could feel it physiologically that I was cramping up. I didn't know if I could continue. But at mile 11, I looked to my left, and my coach, my running coach, was right next to me. It was a miracle. I didn't know where he was. See, he's an ultra runner. He runs 100 miles at one time. He has problems. He needs help. He needs prayer. He's running next to me, so he's just running the marathon like nothing. You know, this is just a walk in the park for him. And he's seeing my body starting to shut down. And I remember he came next to me, and as he came right next to me, there was a bus that was coming in the opposite direction. He said, "You see that bus, Kevin?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "That's the bus for the quitters." "You want me to stop it for you?" I gave him the death look. Kept running. He said, "Let me tell you something, Kevin." He's real intense. He said, "Listen to me. Did you see those kids at mile 6? I said, "Yeah." He said, 99% of their fathers have quit on them. 99% of the males in their lives have quit on them. And when he said that, it gave me just a little bit more confidence to keep going. 26.2 miles later, 5 hours and 10 minutes from the start, I was completing my first marathon, but here's what I learned. I learned that I had just completed something that I absolutely had no belief that I could do. Listen, belief is not required. To achieve your goal, belief is not necessary. Look, I understand, Patrick Henry, that is contrary to popular belief. But belief is not required. You say, "Okay, what do you mean belief is not required?" That's what we talk about. No. Let me tell you what's required. Everybody say the basics. The basics. Let me give you a few basics. Here's what's required. Number 1, clarity of direction. Knowing where you're going. We've gotten a deluge of information over the last 4 days. But what pieces are you going to put out in front of you so that you can pursue? What's that direction for you? Second, basic that's necessary is what I call CIP. Repeat this after me, NSA. Consistent, infinitesimal progression. Small, tiny, minute steps in the right direction is a basic. It's necessary. Third, a profound reason. Steve Gilliland talked about this yesterday. A profound reason that's going to move you is necessary. Fourth, a coach, a mentor, a sage, whatever you want to call them. Someone that when they speak into your life, it affects you. Somebody who can speak some. My coach showed up at the right time, spoke it at the right time to give me just enough energy to continue forward. Fifth, basic. You say, "Kevin," you say, "my belief in me is not necessary." Let me tell you, other people's belief in you is necessary. There's some people in here that when they go home, their husbands, their wives, their friends have no belief in them. So, NSA, so with all the sincerity and authenticity that you can muster up, I need for you to turn to someone on your right and your left, look them in the eye, and say, "I believe in you." Other people's belief in you is necessary. If those kids weren't at mile 6, If they weren't at mile 13, if they weren't at mile 20, if my coach wouldn't have showed up, I would not have completed a goal that I didn't even believe that I could complete. Back to the basics. Here's the R. The R is reboot yourself every day. Reboot yourself. You know, when our cell phone, our computer, our cable, when it's acting up, the first thing we do is just a reflex now. Turn it off, turn it on. Unplug, plug it back in. Take the battery out, put the battery back in. We have to do the same thing as human beings, especially when we're in the struggle, to snap us back into state to accelerate. What are those rituals, those things that you need to do that put you in the state of sometimes we have to unplug to snap back into state, and sometimes we have to restart our energy in order to snap us into state. Depends upon what's apropos for the struggle in the situation. I found something that works for me really well. I like to run now. After running that marathon, I like to run a little bit. So what happens is when I run, I get really creative. And sometimes I need to use those creative juices to reboot, to restart, especially when I'm in the struggle. So I found that when I run 8 miles or 10 miles or 12 miles at one time, I'm so creative in my mind to where when I get done running the 8 miles, I forgot about the great ideas that I had at mile 1, 2, and 3. So whenever I travel, I find the nearest park next to my hotel. At home, it's a park that's 1.44 miles around. What I do is I take my top 4 projects of priority that need my thinking. I take them to the park with me. It takes me 12 minutes to run around the park. I have my iPod with my playlist that covers 4 areas to work on my personal development. 1, vocabulary. I relearn some vocabulary words. 2nd, motivation. 3rd, an audio book. And 4th, my favorite music. I get out of the car, I run 1.44 miles around, listening to my vocabulary words. When I come back, I sit in my car, grab my BlackBerry, and I pound out one project. I get out for 30 minutes. I get out of the car, run 1.44 miles, listening to my motivation, get back in the car, and pound out project number 2. I'm more productive in that state. I found a ritual that works for me so that I can reboot every day. All in all, end up running 5.76 miles. Got my personal development in for the day. I've made progress on 4 major projects, and I've restarted, and I feel great, and I'm ready to accelerate. Reboot yourself every day. The A. The A in the brace is the Ali mentality. Who remembers Muhammad Ali? For the young people who may not remember Muhammad Ali is known as one of the greatest fighters, boxers of all time. Why? Because he told us he was. He said it over and over. He inculcated our mind with his greatness, and now we think he's the greatest. But see, the Muhammad Ali mentality goes hand in hand with the pioneer, one of the pioneers of personal development, Paul J. Meyer. Here's what he says. He says, when I attack any project, I attack the project with this thinking. Do not give mental recognition to the possibility of failure. I add to that thought, doubt or defeat. Hear me, I'm going to say it in a different way. When your mind goes negative, especially during the struggle, open up your mouth and devour the negative, counteract the negative, override the negative with positive words. Somebody say out loud. Out loud. Muhammad Ali would say things like this: I'm the greatest. Who told him that? I'm pretty. I'm a bad man. I shook up the world. When I come to the fight, don't block the aisles of the doors, because Archie Moore will fall in 4. Last night I had a dream. In Africa, I had one hell of a rumble. I had to whoop Tarzan's behind first for claiming to be the king of the jungle. For this fight, I've wrestled with alligators. I've tussled with a whale. I done handcuff lightning and throw thunder in jail. Now that's bad, man. I've murdered a rock. I've injured a stone. I've hospitalized a brick. Man, I'm so mean, I make medicine sick. I'm so fast, man, I can run through a hurricane and don't get wet. When George Foreman meets me, he's gonna pay his debt. I can drown a drink of water or kill a dead tree. Wait until you see Muhammad Ali talked himself into greatness. Now, here's how that can work for you. I'm going to have you count from 10 to 1 quickly, from 10 to 1 in your head with this cadence on my cue. Here's the cadence. 10, 9, 8, 7. Ready? In your head. Ready? Silently. Count. Now say I'm the greatest. Say I'm the best. Say I'm pretty. Say I'm a bad man. I'm a bad woman. I'm going to shake up the world. I'm getting the brace that will snap me in the state to accelerate. So what happened to the counting that you were supposed to be doing in your mind? Do not give mental recognition to the possibility of failure. I add to that doubt or defeat. Here's the C in the brace. It's CGB is the C in the brace. Creativity generates business. How many of you go to the gym at least 60 to 90 minutes 3 times a week? Real quick. 60 to 90 minutes. Hold them up. Look around. 60 to 90 minutes. Okay, watch this for you. I was too 5 years ago. Going to the gym, working out. I'd be there for 2 hours. One day I stumbled into a spin class. Anybody know what spin is? Stationary bike. Yeah, those seats don't like me. Stumbled into a spin class. After the first 5 minutes, I wanted to leave the spin class. Why? Number one, my crotch didn't like the seat. That's number one. Number two, it was hard. But what happened was, once I was done with the class, I discovered something, that this class had 4 major elements that I really liked about it. Number one, it had music. I love music. Number 2, it had a microphone. Number 3, it had an audience. Number 4, it had a workout. I liked the class so much to where I decided that I was going to go and become a fitness instructor. Through my traveling over the next 2 months, I became a fitness instructor. I was just going to the gym working out at first. 2 months later, I go into my own spin class. Microphone, audience, workout, my own music, and I added my brand of motivation, and the club added a check that they paid me every 2 weeks for doing something that I was going to do anyway. And then I got smart. You're going to sit here and look at me for 60 minutes? Or you're going to be behind me once I started teaching boot camps for 60 minutes? If you sit in front of me for that long, I'm going to sell you something. What did I put across my chest? Brace yourself. Then I put a message on the back. Let me tell you this. I can't tell you how many anti-bullying assemblies that I've done over the last 5 years from people coming to my classes. Referrals. I can't tell you how many corporate sales rallies that I've opened and closed because of referrals from those classes. I was going to be there anyway. I can't tell you how many sports teams that I've spoken to, given my talk, the standard of everyday greatness and character in sports, how winning goes beyond the scoreboard because of the referrals from my classes. Can't tell you how many people from those classes show up to my live shows. Creativity generates business. I just got creative and it started to come. You create a following. Think, create. What can you do that you're already doing to create enthusiasts for what you do? And the E in the brace is extract leverage. Extract leverage. Extract as much leverage out of every speaking opportunity that you possibly can. Squeeze as much juice out of every speaking opportunity that you possibly can. And eventually that juice that you squeeze will turn green. And green to me means cha-ching. And cha-ching should snap anybody into state to accelerate. Everybody say, brace yourself. So I'm sitting here with a bucket of sand and a bucket of rice and some clay, and I started running my thumb through that bucket of sand all the way to the bottom, and I reached down and I got to fight for this goal I want. I put it in the bucket of rice, I take it out, and I grab that clay. See, when you're in the struggle, my friends, repeat this after me, please. Dig down, deep, back here, and I'm like, come on. You can do this. And day by day, week by week, I slowly but surely strengthened that thumb just enough to be able to grip a baseball bat again. And my mindset was, if I could just grip a bat, I could play. How right I was. 24 hours later, I was stepping into the batter's box, facing the #1 rated pitcher in the country. Fastball clocked at 92 miles an hour. You're going to be in the pursuit when you get home. As you're in the pursuit, you're going to run into some struggles, some challenges, some trials, some tribulations, some things that could possibly kick you out of the state to accelerate. But when you get to that place, repeat this NSA, brace yourself. The pursuit, the struggle, brace yourself. There's something on the other side of the struggle. I remember that first pitch came. Nice and relaxed. Nice and relaxed. Here it comes. Fastball. Shoot. Oh, my goodness. I didn't even see that pitch. Goodness gracious. Deep breath. And you know your third base coach is supposed to be over here giving you your sign. Come on, baby, you can do it. After that fastball, my coach went like this. What? So I'm by myself, coach? Okay, I'm all by myself. I see what you're doing, coach. Okay. You know how to motivate me. Okay, coach. Nice and relaxed. See, on the other side of the struggle, repeat this after me, friends. Say the victory. Now listen, the victory may not be what you think it is. Sometimes the victory is not hitting your goal. Sometimes the victory is just who you become. You know what I'm going to say? Who you become in the pursuit of it. You will be victorious somewhere in your life by just having the guts to go through the journey. Nice and relaxed. When you're in the struggle, you got to make sure that you get back to the basics. Whatever your basics are, when you're in the struggle, you got to reboot yourself every day, my friends. I've got to do the same thing. When you're in the struggle, it's the Ali mentality. Paul J. Meyer, do not give mental recognition to the possibility of failure. And I say doubt or defeat. Creativity generates business and extract leverage. Nice and relaxed, deep breath. I had to take a deep breath to slow myself down in order to speed myself up to the acceleration of that fastball. See, sometimes we got to slow down in order to speed up. Slow motion, there it is. Whack! Get up there, baby. Get up there. Get up there. That ball climbed up and over the left field fence for a home run. First swing back. 2 months later, I was graduating from the University of Utah with a degree in sociology, criminal justice degree, and they gave me a little certificate for being the only brother at the graduation. Just joking, just playing. Just 2 months after that, I was signing my name on the dotted line, reaching the exact goal that I had in my mind. Sometimes the victory can be exactly what you want it to be. The pursuit, the struggle. Brace yourself. On the other side of the struggle is the victory. Played professional ball for 2 years. Lived the dream. After 2 years, my wife and I decided that we wanted to become entrepreneurs. And through building my business, my entrepreneurial business, I discovered that I had a passion to speak to people. And I started listening to these tapes right here. Les Brown, wherever you are, I appreciate you and I love you. This tape right here, it's possible. I listened to it over. I know the young people in the back, we don't have tapes anymore. We don't use these. This is when I started listening to this tape over and over and over again. And after Les Brown, I would put in Willie Jolly. How to turbocharge your speaking career over and over and over again. And here I am 15 years later getting an opportunity to stand on the platform at the National Speakers Association. I'm closing with this. I'm going to close with this. I always knew through my sports experience that if you work hard enough, I knew that someday I can develop the skill to speak in a way that somebody will want to listen. And I also knew through my sports experience, if I worked hard and long enough, I would be able to develop the competency to use speaking as a means to make a good living for my family. But I didn't know. I didn't dream big enough to ever think I could step foot on a platform at the National Speakers Association. Lennon Ledbetter, as I close, said something that was so profound to me and it stuck with me. Young people, hear me. He said, it's not how big you can dream. He said, it's about how long you can dream big. Until next time, in the spirit of Les Brown, this has been Kendra, Kobe, and Caleb's daddy, and Jessica's husband, also known to my family and friends as the Muhammad Ali of motivation, telling you, you now have the brace to snap you into state to accelerate. High five somebody to your right and your left and say, brace yourself. Thank you very much, NSA. I appreciate you.